Today I'll be showing you close to 30 of the coolest and most unique LEGO car upgrades, ranging from easy to expert level. These first easy spoiler upgrades can be done in under a minute. So if you have 3 of these slopes, you can make a simple ducktail spoiler. Or using a set of brackets and wedge slopes, we can build a small rear wing. Even bigger spoilers are built using a combination of bars and robotic arms attached to a tile.
I think I've slightly overdone it now.
And if you take some Technic pieces, you can make this cool functional rear wing. Something every real car has are openable doors. However, LEGO sets rarely have them.
So let's give this set an upgrade.
I began by disassembling the car.
We no longer need these pieces anymore.
Once I stripped out the interior, I connected the new doors to the car using a ball joint and some bar pieces.
And just like that, we have working butterfly doors.
Or we can make gull wing doors using these robotic arms, like on this DeLorean. If you have this hinge plate, you can make some really easy ordinary doors. And we can use some Technic pieces to make functional Koenigsegg doors. We still have lots of upgrades to cover, including a working engine and functional lights. And for the final upgrade, I will show you how to build your very own custom LEGO cars. But now that we can open the doors, let's focus on the interior first. First up is this very simple seat design. Or using some slopes, we can make a racing seat. And this more complex one uses curved slopes on the edges.
However, an interior needs more than just seats.
If you take this microphone piece, you can actually use it to make a manual gear shifter.
I can't really sing, so we don't need that anyway.
Another useful LEGO piece is this antenna, which you can use to make a handbrake. Or if you have 2 of these claw pieces, instead of using them to create a monstrous creation, you can actually use them to make flappy pedal shifters.
Or whatever they are called.
For this next upgrade, we can use different colored bar pieces to recreate different car logos on the steering wheel. And with that, the minifigure now drives a McLaren.
Well, he just needs to finish building it.
However, without a gas and brake pedal, his car certainly cannot be driven. So they can be recreated with these modified plates. All these big Technic cars always have crazy working functions, like functional engines. But those sets tend to be really expensive. So for these next couple of upgrades, we're going to see if we can make some working functions by ourselves.
The first objective is to make a working engine.
So I gathered these Technic axles to use as pistons and added stops on both ends. I then attached a Technic brick to the drive shaft to push the pistons up and down. Now we just need to build a car around it. And I thought to go with an American muscle car style.
And just like that, we've successfully built a car with a functional engine.
Or you gather some Technic beams, to which we can connect a pair of wheels and a gear rack, from where we can lead an axle to the center of the car into the roof.
And just like that, you have a car with a working steering system. Oh, my hand can't reach that far.
And if that isn't enough for you, we can even take this a step further by grabbing some motors and attaching them to the steering mechanism and drive shaft.
All this won't fit in a car by a long shot. Well, that's going to be a bus then, I guess.
And after some fiddling around and trying to get everything to fit, the chassis is now finished.
Everything is now connected and it works. But it doesn't look the prettiest as of now. But that will get better. I hope.
I then set on building the exterior.
I feel like someone is keeping an eye on me.
I used 2 big window pieces to create the front windshield and numerous smaller ones for the sides of the bus.
Let's see if it still drives with all that extra weight. Yeah, it actually still works.
And just like that, we have ourselves a remote controlled city bus.
Okay, I maybe should have given it a bit more ground clearance.
If the sun is shining like today, you might want to make a convertible. So I've got 2 ideas for you here. First, using some Technic pieces and multiple hinges, we can make a very simple but flawlessly working soft top. A more complex spider mechanism.
No, not that kind of spider. Now that's a whole lot better.
And it can be built with a pair of robotic arms that are attached to some bars and a couple of hinge plates. And this Technic beam between the 2 seats simplifies the opening process. If you have the semi-regular, semi-Technic pieces and you attach them to these pins, which are attached to some Technic beams that lead to a button in the dashboard, you can make these cool pop-up headlights often found on old sports cars. This next upgrade involves these cool light bricks. Because if we remove the base of the car, we can place a light brick inside, and pointing it at the floor we can recreate the look of underglow. It now looks like one of those overly modified cars. Or using this design with transparent red tail lights, where the white pieces help reflect the light, you can make functional tail lights. And then for the ultimate light show, if you have 2 of these light bricks, you can make this mechanism from these rubber parts attached to the drive shaft, which in turn can push up a beam, which then activates the lights. This actually works better than I expected. Then I just had to build a police car looking body around the mechanism. And just like that you have a police car with functional lights. Now criminals have no chance of escaping the police. For this next upgrade we'll first have to go to the LEGO store. And only choosing one set to buy is always a bit of a challenge. But surprisingly, after the quick build, where it's very important that we don't apply any stickers, we'll go right back to destroying the set. Ah, you thought I would throw it on the ground, did you? But I would never do that, because I care for my Legos. But you can throw away your instructions for this part. If you have a relatively small Lego collection and you want to get more out of your Lego sets, you can try what's known as an alternative build. Which means taking apart your Lego set and then only using those pieces to design a new car by yourself. It took me about 4 hours, but we now have a Porsche 911 GT3 built only using the pieces from this Mustang set. Definitely worth the time for this original result. And these are all the leftovers. For this final stage of upgrading your Lego cars, we first need to search the internet for a collection of photos or blueprints of the car you're building. Because we can then combine multiple of the earlier mentioned upgrades together to build a completely custom Lego car from scratch. I'm building the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, so I've already included functional Lambo doors, and the next step is to design the front. I would suggest you to always try to start your build at the front, because that's the most important section. And a building trick I'll give you is to not build the headlights with simple pieces that don't fit well, but rather surrounding the shape of the headlights with multiple pieces, which is more accurate, just like what I've done here. I've now built the front with these Technic panels, and I think it's progressing nicely so far. Those Technic pieces I used at the front are a perfect example of the most important thing when building Lego cars, but also building anything really, which is to just be creative and try to think of original solutions or techniques to use. There is minimal interior space, but I tried to use some of the interior tricks I showed you earlier in this build as well. At the rear I made everything a stud wider, because the real car is also wider at the rear. Everything is just a matter of closely inspecting the images and blueprints, and then building the key details into your Lego car. And just like that, the completely custom build is finished. And I actually think this ended up being the best car I've ever built. I hope this has given you some inspiration. And building instructions for my custom models are available through the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.